What's up, everybody, and welcome back. It's the ITG Gamecast, where each and every week we get together live Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about everything in the world over here at ITG, but video games. It's because we love to talk. At least I do, Scott. I don't know.
We talk every morning. We definitely
just a little bit more.
Joining alongside me, as always, you know him as Scott Savage from the ITG Daily Show each and every day. And, of course, you catch him on the ITG Weekend Review and all of the reviews, previews, and other things we got him up to. You never quite know what he's going to do next. It's Steve Radley. Steve, how are you, buddy?
Not too bad. Good evening to you all.
It's good to have you guys. How was the weekend?
Too quick. It felt like we all mentioned before, I felt like I was doing a bit of everything, but nothing was really achieved.
Sure.
So it's kind of, for me, it was more doing stuff for the show, like doing the trailers and a bit of editing and stuff like that. And obviously playing some games and just doing the normal mundane stuff of housework and laundry kind of thing. And that's the whole weekend kind of gone kind of thing, basically.
Fair enough.
How about yourself?
Myself, dude, it was a good weekend. I don't even remember what I did Saturday.
Well, Mother's Day was on Sunday.
Yeah, it was
for
on
you
Sunday.
guys.
It was. Yeah, we went out for dinner. A friend of ours, she just turned 40, so we went and had a birthday dinner at the Arch, and it was, man, it's like the fancy steakhouse in our area, and I had lamb, so good. Like, man.
it's been a while.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it was really good. And then Saturday came and went, it feels like. And then Sunday was Mother's Day. I cooked up some ribs. So I actually boiled them for like an hour and a half. And then I put them on the barbecue. Oh, man, it was really good. My wife had a great day. Kids had a great day. Like everything was, I even had my mother-in-law here all day stuff. So yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. Busy. Next, like you say, Steve, right? It's just like poof. Wow, man, it's Monday again. Just like that, right? Like,
I feel like I need the extra Monday off as well, just to recover from the weekend sometimes. I feel like it's like when you go on vacation for 2 weeks, it takes me like a couple of days to get into it to actually relax.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're flying back home and then it's like work the next day and it's just like, I needed to have a day off or something.
Well, we got a long weekend coming up here, right? So we can expect an extra day there. So that'll be nice. But Scott, how was your weekend, man? What were you doing? Anything?
Oh, funny enough, I think Saturday just kind of skipped on by. I'm not sure what happened Saturday at all. I think I was asleep for most of it. Got up and had like a very late evening, and that's why it's all blurring together. But playing a little bit of Horizon, gonna keep that going, keep that match lit, and that's the majority of my memory. I didn't get to see my mom this weekend, but I did talk to her for over an hour on the phone, which is very easy to do nowadays. But
Nice.
It was pretty relaxed.
We will get into our topics of the day, but first head over to itgtv.com, where there you can keep up to everything we do, from the daily show to the daily breakouts to all of our reviews, previews, developer interviews, and a whole lot more. We've got a lot cooking coming up in the next month and a bit, so you're not going to want to miss all of that. That's for sure. We'll get into today's show of what we've been playing, what's in or out, and of course, our topic of the show this week is a big one. Xbox put themselves on fire last week by shutting down some studios. So the question has definitely come up: can we trust Xbox at all anymore? We'll get into that, but first up, let's get into what we've been playing. Scott, I'm going to kick it to you first. What have you been playing?
I actually I put one of the racing games aside now. I was very hard into Wreckfest. I think we talked about that last week. I've now sunset that one in favor of 2K Lego Drive. And
boy, it just gets better.
I have to say, I like this better than the Lego Movie. And the Lego Movie was pretty all right. I have to say, for most people, they really enjoyed that one. But no, this game is where it's at. It has enough of a humor where I'm playing through it and I'm enjoying my time. Kind of reminds me of Cars, that game from way back in the day.
Cars is so good.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. What else have you been playing?
Yeah. A little bit more Battlefield. I did jump in back to that, and I have to say I've been enjoying the new map. There's Stadium now, and that's reminding me of Stadia as I say that out loud. But no, Stadium's been excellent. I'm starting to feel myself drip back into that as a regular. It's been a while since I've been into Battlefield too hard, but they added the hover bike. The hover bike's really cool. I think every game needs a hover bike. It's like a jetpack that way.
Nice. Yeah. Interesting. I haven't been back into it. I'm going to kick in actually what I've been playing. Steve, you can go last this time if that's good with you, buddy.
That's fine.
All right. So I've been playing the usual. I say it all the time, each and every week. There's just Ghost Recon Breakpoint, those new. That one you didn't see coming, did you? Our buddy Kyle hit me up and he's like, I downloaded this. I'm like, yo, I'm in. Let's go. So I jumped in. We hung out and played a little bit just the other night, which was fantastic. Man, it was so good. Like the gunplay in that game, just on point. It is just on point. I'm glad they're
still glitchy,
dude. It's
even after all these years. I know, like sometimes when games come out, they say, "Don't worry, by the end of the year, all the patches, all the glitches should be near enough sorted. Then you can enjoy the experience." But I always found Breakpoint was always still had issues,
broken.
And then even when I bought out the DLCs, they still had the issues with the main base game. Basically,
yeah. It was good for the most part. We got a cutscenes and it cuts some people off like here. Like it still does. I'm like, it still does that to this day. That was the only real glitch. And then Kyle would highlight stuff and I couldn't see it sometimes. So like the ping system was off. And then you know how you do the synchronization for taking.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it was just gone. Like we couldn't do it anymore. Like
it's the drones, isn't it? If I'm correct, you move the drones over, but then you pick three. You need to go all at the same time.
It wouldn't let us pick them anymore. Like we started off, everything worked just fine, and then we get near the end of our night, and we just couldn't pick it. I was like, "What is happening? Like, why can't we?" It's I don't know. It makes me very curious to see what the next Ghost Recon is. Right? What do we get to next? But either way, I still had a good time jumping back in.
I want Advanced Warfighter 3. Let's
Ah,
bring it back. A whole new console generation. Let's do it.
nice. Last week, here's a good one too. There's a long time shadow. My brother came over. We went out fishing last week, and he's hanging out because he spent the night because it's easier for him just to get up here and then we'll just leave because we leave at like 5:30 in the morning to go fishing.
Yeah.
So while he's here, we're like, what are we gonna play? I'm looking for something co-op. I'm scrolling through all my lists. I went, I got it. You ready? Splinter Cell Blacklist co-op is one of the best experiences. Darren and I had an absolute blast. If you have friends who have never played this game and they're over at your house, I recommend it 100%. Pick it up, buy the game, play the co-op. It is one of the best times I've ever had. Darren and I had an absolute blast. That game is so cool, man. If you're a big stealth guy like I am, right, and Darren is too, then we'll hide in the shadows. And then we got to the one part where Briggs. So when you team up in Blacklist, I was Sam and my brother was Briggs. So Briggs is on the main fourth echelon plane. And so your mission is go out and we had to take over this area and clean everybody out and whatever. But we get to a certain spot where only one could go at a time because the other one was taking control of the drone, which was like shooting down at everybody. Oh. Man. It was.
I don't remember drone crafting or.
Yeah, it was.
That's weird. I'm gonna have to go back to that game. I haven't played that since high school.
Oh, it's fantastic! What a fantastic game! And this is like, man, you can't not bring Splinter Cell back fast enough. Just straight up, fast enough. It's not going to be here anytime soon, and it's just a heartbreaker.
I feel like I'm slacking because I've not played many of the Splinter Cell games. I think I played the first one on when I had my very first original OG Xbox.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've played it at all since up to now, really.
I have them all on GameCube, or the original trilogy, I should say. And,
man, that's funny.
That's a weird one. Yeah, nobody expects it to even be on GameCube. But it was excellent though. You had the Z button and that would drop your goggles down. It was it was so good.
It's man, yeah, I love Splinter Cell. Like, it's one of my favorite franchises of all time, right? So to get in there and to hang out with my brother at the same time and we playing co-op, it was incredible. Like I said, the usual, right? So you got Rainbow Six, you got PUBG, you got Predecessor. Had a bit of a rough go last night with Predecessor. People just bailing. I'm like, man, like you can't not have somebody bail in that game on you. It's just the game's over then. So it's just such a pivotal team game that it requires 5 versus 5. And if you were down 4-5, then that's a hard time. That's a hard go. And that one hurts. But whatever. Moved on last night. And then I got the Steam Deck. And I'm like, what am I going to play? Still grinding out. Still grinding. No rest for the wicked. What a game. Hard. there's like times like, oh man, like it's just killer. I'm like, I had it. I'm gonna go back out. I'm this close now to buying a property. I'm like, oh boy, give him my house. They're like, let's go. So I'm having a fun time doing that still. That's just a game I'll jump in, play for a little bit, get frustrated because I keep dying, and then just bail out. But then I'll come back, and it's just that rinse and repeat cycle. And that rinse and repeat cycle also led me into Hades 2.
Oh, that's one that I've. Yep. I looked up Hades today because I thought it was on sale for
You
really
enjoyed it?
low, and it's not.
It is.
Did you play the first one?
Fantastic. No. So I'm jumping into the second one, bypassing the first one. I'm like, oof, I'm missing something here. I'm like,
Is it actually a continuation then? Like
yes,
Hades
it is.
2?
Yeah. So yeah. The other one.
Oh, you're somebody else though, aren't you?
You are now. I
You're
believe
not
it's
Zagreus.
no. You're his sister, who is out for revenge because it all didn't end very well, to say the least, from my understanding. But yeah, that is, again, right? You go out, it's a roguelike, so you go out, do what you can, die, start over. Go out, do what you can. So I beat a couple bosses. I'm like, gotcha. And then I died. I was like, oh, man. But you go back, and each time you're able to upgrade stuff, and you become stronger, right? And so that way, when you go out the next time, some parts are a lot easier, push forward, and kind of keep continuing on from there. And it is, maybe I'll just do one more round. Maybe I'll do one more. Like, it's just one of those games. And it is silky smooth on the Steam Deck. It just works, and it is gorgeous. It is fantastic.
It just works.
It's one of those things, though, right? Like, it's just, okay, here's a problem right now. No rest for the wicked. Overheating the Steam Deck completely crashes me out.
Oh, that's
Yeah. No, that is absolutely irritating, because I'm sitting down playing, I'm going, everything's good. Look at the battery life. Okay. I'm out. I'm like, whoa.
What's the battery life on those?
Not long. It is not long, Steve.
I know it's doing a lot of processing and the LCD display and all the other good stuff.
Yeah.
But I wondered, like, how long does it take to charge? And then how long, once it's fully charged, if you put a game on it? I know it might depend on the game, if there's a lot going on in the background compared to if it's like a 2D scroller.
Yeah.
But do you get like good 3 hours maybe out of it? 4 hours or more?
You can get 3, sometimes 4, depending on the game, because I also jumped into Balatro. Like, man, I've been on fire playing I'm bouncing down the library I have, guys. That is just nuts, right? Balatro, another fantastic game. I cannot give enough props to this game. If you're into poker, I'm telling you gotta check this out. Another roguelike. There's 3 games in a row, guys. All roguelikes, right? Like, it's just, I know No Rest for the Wicked is really technically an ARPG, but it feels like a roguelike, because you go out, you grind, you die, you come back, you start over.
But that's not what a roguelite is, though. It doesn't fulfill. Sorry, I have to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to correct you. It doesn't fulfill any of the criteria of being a roguelite whatsoever.
Well, it feels like it to me.
Nothing.
And what's your criteria?
That doesn't mean
Scott?
anything.
Because my defense of roguelike is you just basically have one life, and when you're dead, you start back at the beginning again, kind of thing.
That's Hades 2.
Is that?
Yeah, right. Hades is absolutely a roguelite, but when it comes to No Rest for the Wicked, when you die,
punishing.
None of the enemies you killed have been respawned either. So it's just kind of, you just stand back up like a zombie basically and come back to the same room of finished enemies.
Everything respawns eventually, right? Like, those enemies that I've backtracked come back.
I think it's on a world timer.
Go back again, like, they come back. So yeah, I feel like every time I boot it up, I'm like, you guys were all dead before, and now you're not. So they're there again. But I think that's how Moon Studios has just kind of set the game up. It is an action RPG by their terminology, right? It just feels as punishing to me as a roguelike, if that makes sense.
Well,
does that make more sense?
Like when it's like when I played Achilles with Corey.
Yeah.
Corey played it as well. It's not really a roguelite because you just die and you get back up and you keep fighting. All the enemies you killed are already dead. There's no leveling between lifetimes. There's a lot of that. The technicalities kind of make it not so roguelite after all, but it is difficult though.
Dude, it is challenging, no, without a doubt. So I've been playing those, and then I've got on my Steam Deck as well, Wall World. I haven't jumped back in yet, but it's there. Yeah, if you haven't checked out Wall World, it is very cool. Dude, the minute I boot it up, I'm like, I go through my list of games, I'm like, oh, I'm getting this. Wall World is absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'm having a ton of fun. I wrapped up Banishers for review, which has been... And like, people have been sleeping on this one. People have been sleeping on it. And it is What a game. What a fantastic game that is. It's definitely got some issues. Go check out my review. It'll be up posted later this week, probably tomorrow if I had to say. So yeah, it's been busy over here. Needless to say, I've been doing a lot of games.
Do you think Banishers is going to get you into more of the, like, broaden your horizons a little bit, get you more into some of the horror adjacent series? There's a lot of games that I know you haven't experienced because of some horror elements, and I think that's you're only doing yourself a disservice.
And also, your horror moments, is it the scare jumps, or is it certain things like spiders or snakes, or
I think it's on the game. Thoughtfulness.
Yeah. It can be sometimes the tension that it builds. Right, and then I just get anxious. I'm like, I don't like this. But
that could be the music as well, because I know some games have some awesome atmospheric music, the background music, and you can feel it getting the pace going a bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
A bit hard.
Yeah, that's how things like BioShock are horror. Where I at one point disagreed with you, Drew, but I take that back. There are horror elements sprinkled in, if nothing else.
Yeah. So like Banishers is a unique game to me because it is like I don't like ghosts. This is the entire game, right? like I'm just not a fan of ghosts. My neighbor right now swears by it. He's got a ghost in his property. He says every morning at 6 o'clock he can hear footsteps go up his front door. I'm like, no. Like I'm not in for that stuff, right? So it's just certain things.
I guess you're gonna miss Luigi's Mansion 2 then. It comes out next month.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's
that close as you get.
It's funny because I'm dealing with ghosts all through Banishers, and it's just like, man, the story, and the characters between McWrath and Tia is like just on point. So cool, such a cool thing. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, go check out Banishers. It's I mean, I can't recommend it enough. It's not perfect, but it's damn close. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been playing something else too. It's just, man, I can't believe the amount of stuff I play in a week sometimes. It blows me away. But Steve, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing a little bit of the game for our review that I'm doing with Corey, the Light Brigade on VR, the Quest 2.
Very curious to hear about that.
There is a roguelike. Is a roguelike, and I've been dying loads, and it's one of those games that, again, it's a lot on the mechanics, but I won't go too much into it because obviously the review will be out very soon. But I found the more and more I died and the more I played it, the more the weapons sort of all of a sudden, the more choice of weapons and more things to do with them, and it's like, ooh, I kind of like this now. So that is kind of really got me addicted. But it's the same thing again with the Quest 2. The battery's only about 2 hours before you have to recharge again, which I do find frustrating unless you got a bit of money and you can have that extra battery or something like that. Sure. So I've been playing quite a bit of that when it's fully charged. But I actually did, I think it was last night or yesterday, went back onto Gears 5.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, that's
I've been picking at that one, and I sit there and I'm watching the cinematic bit, like in between the cut scenes, and it's like, this looks so good, and I almost forgot what the story was about because it's been such a long time going back to a game. But I actually had a choice to make last night, as obviously the main protagonist, Kate, was to your colleagues, is you have to save one of them. Only one, you have a choice. And it's like, which one do I save? Which one do I save?
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it's an old game, so if you haven't played it, then you've missed out on a lot of
you probably already heard about it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is many years old now.
Very much. And so I've sort of done that, and I've picked a character, and then I thought, maybe I'll pick the wrong one. But it's the gameplay itself is just so much fun, and it's just visually beautiful to look at, and the story is really good. And I'm playing these games again, getting ready for the next one when it eventually comes out. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, Gear 6 is supposed to be, from what rumors say, right, coming to the Xbox showcase in June. Very curious to see where they take the story next, who our main protagonist is going to be. Is it Kate? Does Kate continue on? Like, where do we go from here, right? So
yeah, and I can't mention that because I've not finished it yet. So I don't know if she's going to be in the end of this one either.
She dies.
I haven't finished it either.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
No, I want to be the next game. You're just Baird's kids.
Yeah. So that's
Baird
cool.
was always a standout.
Unfortunately, it was just them two, and it's just it. I
It's not
go
so
through
bad
it
either.
on my PlayStation, my Xbox. I see all these games. I wanted to jump on the Wolf Amongst Us, but then it was kind of like I'm not feeling the narrative bit. I've got to be in that frame of mind because it's quite
Yeah.
deep and emotional and heavy. So I just thought, just something to play like Evil West. I like jumping into just
Yeah.
linear. Just keep moving forward. Just
Shoot
blasting
everything that
everything,
moves.
upgrading your weapons. Yeah, exactly. That's me. That's why you don't invite me for Breakpoint, isn't it?
No, yeah, that was a last minute thing from Kyle, but yeah.
No, yeah, Steve is like our Eivor on the team. It's like we're in a stealth operation, and then you hear half a magazine dispensed from Steve's rifle.
Yeah,
Cutting through
without the
the night.
silencer, or just use a like a rocket launcher or something. Just get things moving.
Yeah, the element of surprise.
I keep
Yeah.
guys, I keep looking at Dragon's Dogma 2. I see it all the time, and I'm just
Still,
like, man, still
Does look good.
right. So I saw this Reddit post where they were a wizard, they craft this thing, and they just move around.
You're a wizard, Harry.
And then it narrows in, and then it launches this big fire, and it goes over. Boom! And you know what reminded me of when Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. walks away, and he goes, boom, and everything just blows up behind him. I was like, it looked absolutely incredible. Like, it was just fantastic. I was like, this thing is sick. I gotta get it eventually, but it's one of those things I keep wondering. Oh, here goes Northern Cast goes. I gotta ask, with the Xbox Showcase happening, do you think we see an announcement at Sony they will want to start off with the bang and do their own showcase? So I think what Brad's looking for, do we get a showcase like Xbox during Summer Game Fest week? Now, what rumors have been going around as of right now is that PlayStation's going to have their own showcase at the end of this month. So we'll look for that instead. I think Sony wants to get out in front. It was funny because in the past, Sony would always go last, right?
Yeah.
They want to keep that mind share going. Where here, they're coming out first, which, if there's enough breathing room, then yeah, okay, cool. With the announcement that dropped 2 hours
they
ago.
normally come out for a couple of state of plays, though, don't they? They normally come out with a state and play, and then they say, "Oh, 2 months' time there'll be another one." Or,
Yeah, May's usually when they get something because Sony's been so quiet, right? And Brad's talking about the news announcement. Herman Hulst being now co-CEO of the company, right? Now that Jim Ryan is gone, we need a replacement. We have Herman Hulst and Scott. Who else did they pick up? You recalled?
I don't recall the name now. Actually,
okay.
I don't have it on screen. I did.
Yeah. But yeah, so now there's 2 of them, which we'll go into depth and more conversation tomorrow on ITG Daily Breakouts and ITG Daily for that matter.
Sorry, I do have the name just to complete that. That is Hideki Nishino.
Okay. So now, yeah,
That's
weird.
what I was going to say.
There's 2 of them now, right? yeah. See, it just slipped my mind. I couldn't.
Yeah. It was on the tip of my tongue, but I just couldn't quite get it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're all kind of waiting at this point for PlayStation to come to the table and give us something, right? Like, what do we have for the rest of the year now? What is lined up for it? Because I think we're at this point, like, we're pretty well seen it all until they come out with their next showcase. And hopefully it's a full 1 hour showcase and we get a good look at here's the rest of 2024 leading into 2025. Ghost of Tsushima 2, please. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Wolverine,
Some.
please. Yeah. So let's see where they can go. And I think the other question for me when it comes to PlayStation is, do we get PlayStation and PC day and date?
That's the big one. Is that going to be?
I think they are. I think that's
forward?
what they're focusing on, porting their PlayStation 5 games to PC.
It does seem like it, yeah, but they're going to have to figure out their a proper standard. Are we going to need the PlayStation login? Do you need to connect that? Are they going to take a hard stance, do you think, and go, you need it for legal reasons, and just leave it at that?
Well, the thing is, Xbox already do that anyhow, because you still have to have the subscription to play online. And it was exactly like the PlayStation. That's why you had the PSN for the online play portion of the games.
Yep.
So
well, I think there is Halo Infinite is on Steam though. I believe I've never played it through Steam myself, so I'm not sure if you do have to have the login in that case. I would imagine you would if you're going to bump onto people on Xbox Live. I would imagine you have to have some sort of gamer tag, but
you would think, right? But yeah, I don't know. Very
Yeah.
curious to see how PlayStation lines themselves up for the rest of the year and into 2025. But they should be coming out just before Summer Game Fest, which will be nice to see because I think we're at this point. I feel like we're way overdue to see something from PlayStation. But guys, let's move the show along. This week, what's in, what's out? How you guys feeling? Steven, gonna kick it to you. What are you in or out on today?
Well, as I mentioned, because I've been playing the Light Brigade on the Quest 2, and my out is the weight of the hardware of the Quest 2.
That's
Oh.
fair.
For not using it for such a long time, and then playing
hard.
for 2 hours, it was like, what the hell? It's just top heavy.
Yeah,
It's just, I know you can spend the money, get all the straps, and have the battery on the back as well to sort of counterbalance it all.
yeah.
For someone like me who's just got the basic Quest 2, and then you put it on your head after the 2 hours, my neck was aching, and it was just uncomfortable. I could just, the marks cross here from the weight, the pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the lines on your face. Yeah.
Yeah, looked like I've been snorkeling or something. When you're really tired, you cross your leg. But yeah, that is just the pure weight of the Quest 2. Even though it's not supposed to be that heavy, but on your head, it's just unusual. Back, you know yourself. You've had you've
Yep.
experienced it yourself on the Quest 2.
When you're not used to it, right? That's the problem with us right now and how we're so heavily focused on console or PC. And then every once in a while, someone will toss us a VR game. And like the more I look and the more I get older, the less I want to get into VR. That's where I'm at now.
It feels like getting dressed and going out for some reason. I have to make,
Put on a suit and tie,
it's
Steve.
weird. It's do you know what?
that's a
It's
really
actually
good way of
the
putting it.
thought of like making sure it's charged up, and then
Yeah.
obviously because you have to record the game footage, then you have to cast it, have your OBS up, and then make sure that when it's loaded, that you have to make sure the screen is full screen or widescreen, otherwise you get all the borders and everything as well. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work to be done just to record any game footage and get started for what we do.
Yeah, it is, right? Versus just somebody who wants to put it on and play. But again, it's one of those, if you don't play VR on a regular basis and then you jump out, you come back like a month, 2 months, 3 months later, it's like, wow, man, woo, I don't know about this, right? Like it's good.
It's been years, guys. I've got my headset right over there. It's been years. I tried to offer it to my little brother. He wasn't even interested. I thought, what?
Dude.
Like, maybe
Yeah.
it's just me being born in the 90s or earlier. You're thinking, okay, this is some new crazy technology. What do you mean you don't want it?
I think
Anyways.
the only ones right now who care about any VR is Meta, right? I think it's just them.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody else.
Yeah, if
PlayStation's
you're invested
done.
in it.
Yeah, but I think
Which is a
PlayStation's done.
shame,
Just too
because the
bad.
headset was a good hardware. It was good bit of equipment.
Yeah,
And the thing
PSVR
is,
2
it's
is
like-
cool, but
Yeah, and some of the games I've seen that are coming out for the Quest 3.
yeah,
And you think, that should be on the PSVR 2 as well, because they've got more mixed reality
yeah,
as well. I know it's on the
exactly
Quest
the
3.
one.
Yeah.
yeah,
See
very
your
cool.
portals in your bedroom and stuff like that.
Again, though, right? I'd
I-
rather just sit down and play. I don't want to. Because
Yeah.
when I go into VR, I stand up. I don't know about you guys. I usually stand up.
I have to. Otherwise, it makes me sick.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've done it. A lot of times I do stand up when I play a lot of the VR games, but there's only been a couple of times where I thought I can actually do it sitting down.
yeah.
You just move the thumbstick to move around and that kind of
Oh.
thing, or teleport.
Sure.
My
Teleport
favorite-
motion.
My favorite was doing Climb 2. And
Yeah,
I played
yeah.
for so long that my arms
Oh, yeah.
get tired.
Yeah, no, VR has some cool games, some cool applications, but it's just, I wonder what the future lies. I think I kind of know where it lies, but at least I know where it lies with PlayStation. I'm like,
But I find that I do like the games that come out on the Quest 2, but I just find I'm more disappointed in the graphics. As
You need
I
the
find
Quest
it's
3.
very-
right? That's where you're at. You need the next one.
Yeah, but then you're paying an extra $1,000. I mean, you're already paying
Yeah.
like, was it $499 or $500 for
Oh, yeah.
a Quest 2? But for me, it's the games that are now coming out a lot bigger and more powerful, and
Yeah.
they just can't handle it. It's like putting Mortal Kombat on the Switch.
Yep.
Oh,
Something's going to have to suffer whether you want the performance, but the
Sure.
graphics are going to be pixelated. And I'm finding that a lot now in games where there's a lot more movement and motion in these, that it just can't handle the graphics on it.
Yeah, which is fair.
the best was my best experience was Elite Dangerous with the throttle and stick and
Mhm.
VR. and it was flawless. Like it handled everything just fine. But this is kind of an older game now, so there's not really too much to strike for. But
Yeah.
oh, it was so good.
Scott, what are you up to? What's in or out?
Well, at first I was going to be quite negative, but I actually have a positive this time. So to preface that, everybody's talking about how if only they just made good games, they wouldn't be shut down. And this is a big topic of debate right now because it seemingly doesn't matter if you make a good game. In the case of Hi-Fi Rush, Tango Gameworks shut down seemingly, even though they did everything right.
Yeah.
But there is one thread of positivity that I clutch to in this situation, and that is the one that there's a bit of a community support, a community swell around Hi-Fi Rush in particular. But
Sure.
I'm seeing this kind of pop up with other games, and there, I've seen a positively weaponized review bomb campaign. And although, whether you believe that's a good tactic to use or not, I like the idea that everybody's coming together to lift up something instead of push it down. It's just something positive that I've never seen before. And I think this is what the community needs. I think the gaming community at large, if you like that game, it's not always just enough to buy it day one. Don't pre-order things. This is my opinion, but buying on a day one is one thing you can do, but to keep that enthusiasm around that game, because these developers, these companies are listening. Xbox will eventually take note of what's untouchable.
Absolutely. Brad chimes in. Embracer, we spent a crap ton of money on studios just to close them or sell them. Xbox, hold my $77 billion beer. That's fair, Brad.
Oh, they're the best at stepping. They win the stepping on rake competition every year.
Yes, they do. Boys, right now I'm in on the Dune movies. I just saw part one on the weekend. That's what I did Saturday night. Yo, I knew I did something Saturday night. That's what it was. Yeah. So,
that was the whole night.
It was 3 hours, like 2.5 hours. So yeah, pretty well, right?
It's a good film, June, the first one. I've seen the first one.
It was
good. I haven't
seen
them.
And I was like, do we watch the second one? Like the minute I finished, I almost contemplated watching the second one. I'm like, yeah, that's long.
Holy.
Yeah. But it leaves me, I'm like, oh, I like the setup, right? And then that's when I jumped on with Kyle to play Breakpoint. And so it was one of those, watch the first movie. I had a blast. I thought it was a great time. Looking forward to getting into the second one. And then the third one's out in 2027, apparently. Yeah. So it's going to be a couple years away. Yeah.
So my question for you is, now you've seen the film, does it make you look like you want to play the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I already wanted to play the game. I thought the game looks cool to start with. But for me now, it's like, okay, I'm going to want to play the game, but I don't know enough about the storyline and what's going on.
The spice and,
Yeah, the spice. So it's funny because, Scott, didn't you and I review Dune Spice Wars?
Spice Wars, yeah.
Right? That's what it was.
It at the very least. I think
that's what it was.
Early access.
Even
the only thing
then...
I was going to say, the only thing I'm a bit concerned about is, like, when they done Avatar and we saw the cinematic and it goes, oh, this is so good, I can't wait to jump into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we played it and it was like, it was kind of missing something.
Yeah.
And I hope the June one does follow the story and have that, that you're looking for, something you're looking forward to, but it actually lives up to the expectations of the game.
And Dune's got the MMO element to it as well, right? So it's big.
Yeah,
like, how big is this?
Oakwood.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to checking out this game. Yeah.
Me too.
I'm almost positive. Scott, look it up real quick for us, will you, please?
I thought it was like a Tribes of Midgard thing where it's not really.
No. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive it's an MMO. But I was like, I don't know anything about this. It is coming. It looks cool. It's on my radar. But is it for me? So I'm like, oh, I'll go watch the movie. So it is the remake. It's not the original. It's the remake. But yeah.
This is Awakening, right?
Yes, Dune Awakening. Is that MMO? Am I right?
It is listed as an MMO, yeah.
There we go. Massive multiplayer online game.
That's if you trust Wikipedia, though.
Well, yeah, to somewhat.
They're pretty all right.
Is it going to be like The Last Oasis?
Oh, man. Remember that game?
I was just starting saying it, I know.
Yeah.
That's one of your favorite games. The crafting and
I love the walkers in that game. It was so cool. But yeah, that's what I've been in on. Watching the movie. Now I'm excited to go in and watch the sequel. And we'll watch part 2 here probably in the near future because I'm just kind of it's right in the back of my mind, right? So I want to keep it going. It was really cool.
Don't want to leave it too long to watch the second one though.
Yeah, no, I'll probably watch it this week or next. So
yeah, well, it's still fresh. The first story.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I'm bothered. I haven't watched the movies yet, but I think it's because the main actor I'm not so hot on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, make sure you watch
I think that is
remake,
unfair.
Juno Scott, not the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original was pretty bad.
Maybe I would appreciate the original just for being old school sci-fi though, like 70s sci-fi, but done in the 80s.
Maybe.
I think it was.
Maybe. All right, guys, let's get into topic of the show. The Xbox lose our trust last week. It was a big week for Xbox. We're gonna get into it. We're over on The Verge because they have Tom Warren's got a big article, like a massive article here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read it.
Summary.
It is quite a summary, so we'll see if we get through the whole thing or just break out into discussion, because that's kind of what we do here. Just hours after learning that Microsoft was shutting down a number of game studios this week, Dinga Bakaba, head of Microsoft, owned Arcane Lion. I don't think he owned it, but either way, decided to let the company know how he felt about the decision right in public. Quote, "Don't throw us into gold fever gamuts. Don't use us as straw men for miscalculations / blind spots. Don't make our work environments Darwinist jungles," end quote, Bakaba wrote on X. Bakaba, whose studio wasn't impacted by the layoffs that week, said the message was aimed at an executive reading this. Any executive reading this, including the Xbox leaders behind the latest wave of layoffs. It was a rare public display of criticism, but sources at Microsoft tell me it reflects a growing discontent and fear among Xbox employees about what comes next. Microsoft's latest round of layoffs shocked both employees and fans. Arcane Austin's big Redfall update was on the way with a new offline mode, and the DLC was being worked on just hours before the studio was closed. The shutdown, the Tango Gameworks, the studio behind Hi-Fi Rush, was surprised people the most. The game was considered an Xbox hit, winning praises among critics and making its own way to PS5 earlier this year. When Microsoft was happy, even Microsoft was happy with Hi-Fi Rush. Quote, "Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations," end quote, said Aaron Greenberg, head of Xbox Games marketing, just a year ago. Quote, "We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release," end quote. Greenberg and Xbox chief Phil Spencer both visited Tango Gameworks in September, playing games with the team and posing for group photos. Now, the studio is the latest victim of layoffs and that have rocked the game industry over the past 18 months, guys. It's been one rocky industry lately. 3 Bethesda studios, Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and Alpha Dog Games, are being shut down. Done. Shuttered, Scott. Steve. Not cool.
Sorry, was that September that they had visited those?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just trying to establish the timeline here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't. Oh, sorry, go on. I thought
no,
we were going to talk about the first bit
absolutely.
First.
Go ahead, Steve. What do you got?
I was going to say the Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
One. I think that is for me is the biggest disappointment because we reviewed that game and it was a good game. There was no issues with it, like I said, no glitches.
Yeah,
it come out blue kind of thing.
Original.
And it's really good. It went to PS5 as well, which is a big step forward for Microsoft and having their games ported over to the other console.
Yeah,
and then to shut it down when they've already, because I think they were even talking about a sequel, or they were in the works of a sequel, or about to lay the premises for a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush.
Right.
And then Sarah Bond didn't really comment much on it either. She kind of skimmed over it.
Yeah, which was one of my comments earlier this past week when it came into that discussion, because Sarah Bond had a interview with Diana Bass over at Bloomberg, and when she was flat out asked, it was funny because Diana didn't exactly say Tango Gameworks, but you knew what her implication was. And Sarah, like you say, Steve, just kind of skated around the whole conversation, right? Which,
because she was asking the same question. The game done well. It's a good game. It's got received by the community with open arms, PS5.
Mhm.
So
You
why
know,
shut it down? And they
I
had a
think
roadmap as well. It
I
just doesn't
think the
make
reason
sense.
she couldn't answer that and danced around it so bad, I think that's telling. I don't think it was her decision necessarily. I don't think it was Phil Spencer's decision. I think it goes above them into
Yeah.
the greater
Only people
Microsoft.
that don't play the games. It's just the
I just,
marketing.
I think it's somebody who made this decision based on seemingly nothing, because by every metric, it was a success. It tells me that somebody close to the situation is not who made the decision.
Yeah. Well, and I
I don't
think
know if
that's
this
what it
comes
is,
down
right?
to Satya Nadella is the CEO of Microsoft, I believe, right? And
Mhm.
that's ultimately, I think it rests with him.
And it seems just like an odd move to make because it did so well, right? Tango shocked, absolutely shocked the world when they put out Hi-Fi Rush. And then to get laid off, the world got shocked again, including those at the studio. Just blindsided, right?
But
And
then
that's
it
the other
doesn't
thing.
make. Yeah, why invest in these companies if that's what you're kind of thinking of doing? Do you think they bought too many companies too quick, and
Well,
they're trying to sort of justify the money spending?
and then that's the other side of it, right? So if right now you buy into Activision Blizzard for $77 billion, or but $70 billion, and then you buy Bethesda for $7 billion, right? So yeah, there puts you at $77 billion between two companies, right? Technically, that's really like two companies, but within other studios. And then all of a sudden you go, we're now a part of like one of the biggest platforms around, being Microsoft. The amount of money Microsoft makes, you think you would be safe.
Yeah.
Tango does everything. If you make the checklist and you just go check, 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 everything's marked off. Did well, received critically well, won awards, it made money. Like, what else could you ask for?
Yeah.
And
And
then
then
a
you're
promise for a sequel.
right, right,
Yeah.
and then you're shut down, completely shut down. It's just like, well, if one of your top studios or one of your indie-ish studios, smaller studios, does so well that it's still not enough, and it's just kind of a, well, then what is enough? Like, where does the rest of your company lie now moving forward, right? If Machine Games doesn't hit with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, are they done? Like, is that something they need to be worried about? Think about that, right? They haven't put anything out in years, because what was the last Wolfenstein game, right?
Youngbloods, was that their last project? Because I mean, I'm
I
not
think so,
actually
yeah.
sure if they did come up with something after that. I
No, I
can't
think
recall.
that was it. And now they're on to Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is I think it's a unique IP that is going to hit with some, but not with others.
I'm very worried. I'm very worried it's going to lean on its name, not have enough of a support on its own.
Well, that's the
and
thing.
then
Is
be
it going to be
closured because of
compared
that.
to Uncharted?
Um,
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Because
think
it's still that
if it
kind
does
of
well.
artifacts and that kind of thing. But it's the gameplay, it's the game mechanics. You know, is it sort of going to be like the Nathan Drake of swinging on ropes, jumping from one bit to bit, platforming and looking for the artifacts and killing the enemy? You know, is it going to be compared? That's what I'm concerned about. Is it going to be totally unique and stand alone by itself, the Indiana Jones game, or is it going to be, nah, it's a little bit like Uncharted, but Uncharted's better?
Yeah, you don't want it just to be a first-person Uncharted, because that's nowhere near enough of an
I
identity.
know I'm
all the
using
time.
that as a thing, but because you could
Yeah.
even say like Tomb Raider as well.
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
Lara Croft. Is that it's going to be that kind of style of game, I would imagine. So it's either the story's got to keep it together. Obviously, it's got to look absolutely amazing as well, because obviously, you know, it's a kind of good. It's what's the best way to describe it? It's like Marvel coming out with like Spider-Man or something. Everyone expects it to be good. You know,
Yeah.
like Wolverine and people like when you're using big franchise films and they're doing a spin-off game for it, it's got to be good. It has to be. I think.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think this is. I wonder if Xbox looks at Indiana Jones as their competitor to Nathan Drake, right? Because that, right, you take a look at the library for Xbox, they don't have something in that genre, right? They don't have a game like that at all.
And they can do multiple games off of it.
Oh, they could build this out for years if it hits well. But
Yeah, I
if
mean,
it hits well, is
yeah.
it still enough or is it not enough?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost it almost doesn't matter because somebody might just look at it and go, "Oh, too many zeros. Need to cut this, cut that." And so after last week, do you think anybody wants to work under Xbox?
I think some do to a degree, right? Because I think still people believe in Sarah. I think they believe in Phil. And I think there's a vision there from both of them that have helped shape Xbox to where it's going.
Yeah.
Because when you take a look at their lineup, dude, like they're almost somewhat as quiet as PlayStation right now, right? We know about 4 games that are coming. That's about it. And not all of those games are going to speak to everybody, but they're going to speak to a bunch of us. And there's a couple that I'm looking forward to, and there's a couple that you guys are looking forward to, and there's a couple that other people are looking forward to as well. And that's a lot more right now that I can say than PlayStation. So, but it is one of those things. Do you believe in Aaron Greenberg? Do you believe in Phil Spencer? Do you believe in Sarah Bond, Matt Booty? But last week, Matt Booty goes, we need smaller games with smaller teams. You just let one of them go.
Yeah, my guy, you just closed the
Like-
best one.
like,
You
I'm
guys
I
are
just-
think
like,
it doesn't make sense what they're saying. You know,
No.
yes, like you just said, smaller teams, but like I said, you just got rid of someone that done really well and got awards.
It's everybody.
Oh,
The
is
minute
it-
that. Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
Is it only small developers that are feeling that danger though? Because when something
That pressure?
like Arcane Austin shuts down, Arcane Austin I view as one that should have been a little more difficult to kill off. I didn't expect them just to be axed at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
But what about Obsidian? You know, is Obsidian have a long enough pedigree? Are they going to be able to survive something like a rash business decision?
I don't know. Let me ask you guys
You can
this.
start looking like Embracer if you start closing them down.
Well, I think that's kind of the other fear of it too, right? Is now you don't want to look like Embracer was everybody's discussion for a long time of what are they doing? They own all these IPs. Oh, this is what they're doing. They're shutting that one down. They're shutting this one down. They're shutting that studio down. They're laying off those people. They're laying off those people. And it just became like, what happened? Well, we know they lost an investment. You go to Microsoft. We don't know everything, but we do know certain bits, right? That's the thing. But even this decision to shut down Tango, I know we keep going to Tango because I think that honestly is the biggest surprise out of all of them. Arcane Austin, you can probably pin a lot of that on Redfall. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Redfall was a huge flop, right? But it doesn't mean that you shut the studio down. I'm still just as hurt, just as baffled. They make fantastic games. Dishonored is a fantastic
Prey.
series. Prey, fantastic game. The studio's gone. They come out with one game, it doesn't do well, and then you shut them down? That's terrifying.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like as we've mentioned over and over again, how many games have we played, and then it'll be like 6 months, the patch comes out for the glitches, or you know, like for me when I played Valhalla, the Assassin's Creed, I had a glitch on the main storyline, and I could not proceed the story, and it just took me out. So could they not have done something with Redfall? I mean, the game was there, so they could have just done some tweaks or added some DLCs or done something, but they had the base there. Then to shut it down, you know, every other game we wait for patches and updates and things like that. So why can't I do that with Redfall without shutting it down?
Well, there is a logical endpoint though. You don't want to leave it for a decade. You can't always trust that it's going to be fixed. But at the same time, though, it does seem like it was cut a little too early, especially when you have DLC that has been paid for in the form of certain season passes and stuff, and now you're unable to deliver on that. That seems like it should be impossible.
Yeah, like it is weird, right? Because they're just on the brink of releasing the DLC. Like it was coming, and they just shut them down. So what's that mean for everybody else? Now refunds are happening. Like it's just what a disaster. I want to ask you guys this before we get going because we're coming up to our hour already. Can Xbox save the faith of the gamers, save the faith of their employees? Can they turn, which I thought was already on a bit of an uphill climb, but we're coming around. But can Xbox save themselves, or is this the end of Xbox? Scott, I'm going to you first.
Well, I have the belief that this is a part of a greater switch away from Xbox, and I don't know if they have too much care to protect that kind of image because I think the Xbox brand is on the way out anyways. Now, this gets into a big nebulous discussion that we no doubt do not have time for right now. But essentially, there's been some hints levied or dropped in the past couple of years now that Microsoft might just become Microsoft Gaming. One example I can point to is the Xbox Game Pass has now been rebranded as Microsoft Game Pass. Well, that makes sense if you look at it. Okay, I load up on my computer, sure. But what
Yeah.
I think it is kind of breaking away from that console war identity and kind of splitting into whatever the new company is going to look like in the next decade. So I think what's happening is bad, but Microsoft's looking at it and going, it doesn't really matter because we're going to be somebody new in the coming years anyways. And
Do
I
you
think
think it's
that
all like a
hinges,
revamp,
I think
basically?
so. I think that's what
A
this new
restructure
console,
of the whole company?
the new console being the greatest, newest technology. It's alien tech and it's going to change the world. I think that's again laying the bricks of we're making this big change, the the Microsoft revolution code name.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think that's going to be where they pivot. Now it's Microsoft gaming. There's no Xbox. We're getting away from the box. You have a handheld. This is my belief again. I don't have evidence for it,
Sure.
but you have a Switch like handheld. Okay. And if you want to play on the home at the TV, you have a computer for that. I think that's going to be part of their core. And in that, I think they're not interested in the faith because it's going to be an entirely different model.
Interesting. So you think we get another
But
console out of them
that's
before they go
well
away
that
to Microsoft, or do we get like another Xbox console? How does that look?
I think this new I'm going to call it the Xbox Series Go, the handheld.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I think at that time it will not be an Xbox anymore.
Huh. We're
Like this,
losing
I
it.
think the Xbox Series X and Y are the last ones. But to your point, though, there is still having that kind of creative base under your company is you need them to have faith in you. So
Yeah. Yeah.
my plan, my prophecy here still has a big open hole there.
What about you, Steve? Where are you at? Can they fix all this, or are we done?
Yeah, no, I think they can. I don't think it is the end of Xbox. I think now having a major revamp. I think they'll be silly to get rid of the console. Regardless of how we play games on PC and things like that. I don't want to play it on a 22-inch monitor. I want to
No.
play it on a big screen.
Sure.
I want to be comfortable on the couch or laying on my bed, the control in hand, not sitting like this. This chair's a little bit uncomfortable sometimes. I know Xbox has always been pushing for being different, like the cloud gaming. The
Yeah.
first ones to kind of do that front, which is good for people on the go. But I think for our generation, there's a lot of people that still like on console, and I don't think the console will go. I think it'll be
that's
better, it'll be faster. I think it'll be you can play any game wherever you want to go, whether it's at home, on your phone, or on a new handheld or PC, because
I
it's
think
Microsoft.
you're
That
right.
is the software is all implemented. It's just tying it all in together. So
I think you're right
I
about the
think they're just
generational
revamping. I
divide.
think they're just maybe just a restructure of the company. Just seeing they've got a roadmap. They've obviously had to think hard about closing these companies down,
Yeah.
and they know the consequences of it. But someone's made a decision of why they did this, where they're heading next. You know, maybe they're thinking, do you know what? We've got so many game companies. We're on a crunch. We're releasing all these games, and we're getting bad reviews because they're not finished. There's issues. So maybe, maybe it's quality over quantity or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're going to focus on more.
What are you gonna say, Scott?
Oh, I think this change, this coming change, or what I anticipate to be a big change, is a long time coming. But I think it's because we are the generation that's being pushed aside. And I say we because I loop myself with you guys. Don't don't try and get away from me now. But we're in the older percentile, whatever that is, of
Sure.
gamers now. There's too many Zoomers running around with iPads and Switches, it looks alien to me, and I like being comfortable, like you say, Steve. But I think we're just the minority now, and we're going to see
Yeah.
the gaming landscape change in a drastic way. And I know I'm passionate enough to stick around to see where it goes, but I think a lot of people are going to be turned away, and the development, the population of developers is going to be the hardest hit. We've already
Yeah.
seen that the last few years.
No, absolutely. I think I'm really curious to see what Microsoft or Xbox has to say at the Xbox showcase this year. Will they
Yeah.
confront any of this or just brush it under the carpet and move on? Hey, this is what's coming next. This is why you need to care. This is the direction we're going, right? Can they fix this? Sure they can. I think anybody can fix it, right? Just how much time are they going to take to do that? Do we trust them right now? No. Why would you? After what they pulled last week, why would you trust them? It makes no sense to trust a multi-billion-dollar company because they're there to make another $1 billion, right?
Oh, they fool me twice, they say, you know?
Well, that's just it, right? So how far do you go? But when you're looking for that security, there is no such thing. There is no security, especially in the games industry. Outside of the games industry, doesn't matter where you are. There is nothing that is ever secure. It's
But
just,
you know, I think you're bang on there, Drew. I think it's regardless in the gaming shoot or any working you do, you're just a number. It's not like back in the day when the company appreciated what you do. Hey, do you know what? We'll go out for dinner. We'll do this. Bring your partner, hotel, that kind of thing. Give the morale, the guys
That's
that
all
work hard
gone.
do from the company. Now everything is like, if you don't like it, you know what you can do.
see, and that's
You're easily replaced.
and this is something I hope that doesn't come across from me. I'm the CEO of Inside the Game. That's the last thing. You guys aren't just a number. You're vital to this team. And I hope that comes across, right? Because without you guys, I don't have this, right? I can't do this. I can't do this inside the game as one company. Microsoft, much bigger. We are like 5 people over here. we are much smaller. So, but when you get on the grander scale, right, you then become part of that. I'm just a number. Do I really matter? You do matter to some, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, like the big guys up top don't know who you are. And that's a problem. So it's just like, how much can Microsoft push forward now, or Xbox push forward to bring back some of that faith? Because they lost a lot of it, especially when Dinga Bakaba even comes out and calls you out on it, right? That's one of your own CEOs of a studio. So when you have one of the bigger guys of the studios come up front and say, hey, this isn't cool. You guys are doing this all wrong. Like, that tells you something right there. Nobody's happy. Everybody's there is uncomfortable. Time heals all wounds, as they say. In 6 months from now, will this even be a part of the conversation anymore? I don't know.
Well, if they drop Fable, you'll forget all about this.
Well, that's
Here's a trailer for Fable.
Man.
Yeah, but they might be celebrating about a great launch, and 6 months later, get the axe.
That's the biggest worry, right? Games are tough to make. Games take a long time to make. They take a ton of money.
Longer.
Yeah, they're only getting
It's
longer.
like making a film, isn't it? It's like making a movie nowadays.
Well,
mod caps and all the stuff, and they got famous actors, the voiceovers.
yeah.
You know, they're all sort of doing a film. They're all acting.
Todd
And then
Howard.
it's like, sorry.
But you need that company to keep the support afterwards. Otherwise, unlike a movie, you can fix video games.
Well, yeah, there is that. But Todd Howard came right out and said, like, when they did the Fallout TV show, it was a lot easier to do. It was faster, right? It came and went. Like, we're already done. Where's the next Fallout game, right? Like, take a look at that. Like, these take a ton of time, 5 to 7 years on a AAA level, right? And it's exhausting. How much more does Todd Howard have in it? He just doesn't plan on leaving. Neil Druckmann probably not going to go much longer. They never quite know. But the games industry is hard. So when the big guys up top see numbers, like even the good guys, Tango Gameworks, the studios, I'm just so baffled, right? I'm just so baffled at the end of the day, at the decisions to play with people's lives and say, well, sorry, now you have to go find insurance somewhere else, healthcare, right? How to put food on the table, all this stuff. It all plays into everyday lives that you don't see, because all you see is Hi-Fi Rush. And there's more to it behind the Hi-Fi Rush game than just developers. They're people. I think a lot of that is lost at the end of the day. And those people matter, and those people have lives, and the people have kids, they have wives, they have families. And it all comes into account, and people just don't take it into account. They just brush it aside. Embracer was one of those, right? But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think Xbox has a long road ahead of them now that they put themselves in this position. Can they get out of it is the biggest question. Very curious to see next month with Xbox Showcase. Do they address any of it, or do they bypass it all? I got a feeling, guys, They don't
We'll be
mention
having
anything.
another conversation soon.
Well, I don't think we're done talking. We're definitely not done
No.
talking here, but we are done for the day. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us as always. This has been ITG Gamecast, where we get together every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We go live. You can join in the conversation. It's pretty easy. Hit us up on all of our socials, itgtv.com. There you can find everything, including this very show. But until tomorrow, Scott and I will be back. It'll be ITG Daily Breakouts. We got a lot to talk about, as always. Until then, I'm Drew. That's Steve. That's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.